Ah, good afternoon. Welcome to another live of Class and Sense. I am your boy Rob, and wherever you are, hope that you had a good morning, you're having a good afternoon, a good evening, and I hope you have a good night. So today, this live is going to be a lot shorter than my previous lives, mainly because we are going to be talking about one specific thing, one specific cologne, and basically why I think that if you are starting your fragrance journey, as we like to say in the fragrance community, which basically means you're looking for your first cologne, or you're just looking for that one cologne that can do it all. Whether you're going to work, going out for an event, people are going to love it, you're going to love it. And even if someone is has issues when it comes to scents and they're very sensitive, they're gonna love it as well. There are very few colognes that tackle all of this, but the one I'm about to mention does that. And that cologne is Bleu De Chanel, the Toilette version. And when I bring that up, it's actually, if you haven't been watching TV or you don't know anything about colognes, you probably know about Bleu De Chanel because it is very popular. You've probably seen the bottles because they're advertised in almost every Macy's store, every department store, um, basically everywhere. And the reason why I talk about Bleu De Chanel as really one of the go-tos that every man should have in their cologne section, in their cologne lineup, is because when it comes to fragrances, it really is a chemistry experiment. And you have these top notes, middle notes, base notes, and they all come together and they make magic. Now, some of it is good, some is great, but rarely do you find a cologne where the magic is so good that it literally can work in any season, at any occasion, and it is just renowned for how quote unquote people pleasing it is. And that's Bleu de Chanel. And that's actually why it is so popular. So, first, let's go into the notes. So, the notes of Bleu de Chanel, it actually started, if you aren't familiar with this term, it is used frequently in the fragrance community, and that's called a blue fragrance. And the cologne that started this is Bleu de Chanel. And let's go over the notes. Top notes of lemon, grapefruit, mint, pink pepper, and bergamot. Heart notes or middle notes of ginger, nutmeg, jasmine, ICE, super. And the base notes of incense, vetiver, cedar, sandalwood, patchouli, labdanum, and white musk. So, remember, if you've seen any of my previous videos, I always talk about how the notes will give you an initial preview of what you think you might gonna get, but everything can change once it is sprayed on skin. And Bleu de Chanel is no different, but what you get from Bleu de Chanel is just a quintessential blue fragrance, which is very bright and uplifting at the top with the bergamot, the grapefruit, and the pink pepper. So what that does is it's very inviting, um, uplifting. You almost like how when you walk into a room and it's spring and I've used this analogy before, and you have like a lemon candle and just that uplifting citrus scent that lemon gives, bergamot and grapefruit are the citrus that are giving it that feel. And that's in the top opening. And opening, I would say, lasts about maybe 2 hours. The heart notes or the middle notes in what carry the fragrance, the ginger and the nutmeg, it's still bright, but it's calmed down a little bit. And what that basically means is it's still smelling good. You are still radiating in a smell that is very uplifting that people are going to find pleasing. But rather than reach out past an arm's length, After about 2 hours, it's basically at an arm's length. Okay. And the base notes of incense, vetiver, cedar, sandalwood, patchouli, lambdamum, and white musk, to me, I think really do the heavy lifting and transform this cologne from good to okay to great and amazing. And the reason that is because with these base notes, it keeps the projection from lasting maybe an hour, pushes that projection out so it lasts longer. Because typically those citrus notes, those blue accords, as we like to call them in the fragrance community, are very inviting. They're lovely notes, but they don't last long. But as I've said earlier, in the base notes of sandalwood, the white musk, the incense, these heavier notes mixed in with these top notes that don't last as long creates a combination where you basically still have an uplifting blue citrus light scent, but it lasts much, much longer than your typical citrus scent. And that is a summation of what makes Bleu De Chanel so different and so essential for your collection. Because you basically have a scent that can work in the spring with the light notes of bergamot and the pink pepper, can work in the summer because of the white musk and the ginger, can work in the fall because of the incense and the vetiver, and also in the winter because of the incense, the vetiver, the cedar, and the sandalwood have enough oomph that it can cut through the cold. So to just wrap up, if you're new to your fragrance journey, if you are new to fragrances, or you have a bunch of colognes, you have different ones, I suggest you always have a bottle of Bleu De Chanel. And the great thing about Bleu De Chanel, or maybe the most aggravating, take your pick, is that they know, and anybody you tell, because it comes with the reputation, when you wear Bleu De Chanel and you tell people that, it automatically just creates a good response. But you don't want to just tell somebody about the name brand cologne you're wearing. You want to tell them, and then not only do they recognize the name, with the smell you give off, it's like, wow, that's amazing. Now, just as a caveat, Bleu De Chanel has been reformulated multiple times over the years. There are different iterations of Bleu De Chanel. There's the Toilette, the Parfum, okay? And the Parfum is a much heavier version, much more suited for the cold and winter months than the spring and summer months, but can still work. In the spring and summer, just less sprays. And it's really because Bleu De Chanel has been around for so long, regardless of which one you pick, which is the Toilette, which is the most common and the most widely known and bought iteration of Bleu De Chanel, or the Parfum, you can't go wrong. Can't go wrong. And it is one fragrance, which is why I'm creating this live, that I always recommend to people, just because regardless of the occasion, office, a night out, date night, you're going to a brunch, you're going to a gala, you're going to a barbecue, or let's say you're just going for a walk in the neighborhood. You put on some Bleu De Chanel and you know that you're going to smell good. Not only are you going to smell good, but that you are going to get compliments. That's another great thing about Bleu De Chanel and why it's so popular. It is a compliment magnet. Compliment magnet. I'll say it one more time, just to push on the point. It is a compliment magnet. And that is regardless if you're wearing a suit and tie or you're in a t-shirt. Now, my preference when it comes to Bleu De Chanel, I like to wear it more when I'm dressing, when I'm going out, when I'm going to a special occasion, even with a suit and tie, because the fragrance is so good. I don't want to just wear it with a t-shirt, but at the same time, there's nothing wrong wearing it with a t-shirt and shorts. Okay. So with that being said, like and subscribe. Okay. Thank you for joining me on another live with Class and Sense. If you have any questions or have any comments, please put them in the chat or leave your comments, and I will make sure to read and answer on the next live. Okay. But before we go, honorable mention, which we cannot forget, the price point. Even though I recommend it as your first cologne, Bleu De Chanel is not cheap. The Toilette version, even after all of these years, still going to cost you over $50. I would say when it comes to Bleu De Chanel, you shouldn't pay over $100, but you're more likely going to pay specifically for the Toilette about between $70, $80. Now, the reason I recommend it is because even though $70, $80, maybe even $100, it is worth every penny. Okay. But I will include as an honorable mention, let's say that you want something almost as good, but you don't want to spend as much money and you don't need it for every single occasion, but you need something for every season. Versace Dylan Blue, which I'll be making a video about in the upcoming days. But with that being said, thank you for coming and checking out my live, and I will see you again tomorrow as well as Thursday. But until next time, remember, on the Class and Sense channel, the last touch is everything. Take care.